My brother's fiance asked me to be her maid of honor, then handed me a list of rules I had to follow. I thought it was sweet at first. My brother Tyler and I have always been close. Growing up, we were the kind of siblings who actually liked each other. He taught me how to drive stick shift in his beat-up Civic. I helped him pass statistics in college. So when his fiancée Victoria asked me to be her maid of honor, I teared up a little. It felt like she was welcoming me into their new life together. That feeling lasted exactly 3 days. Then she texted me a Google Doc. The subject line read, Maid of Honor Expectations. I opened it thinking maybe it was a timeline or a list of duties. Instead, I found 23 rules I had to follow. Rule number 4, no wearing my hair down during any wedding events because it's too distracting and takes attention from the bride. Rule number 7, I wasn't allowed to talk to male guests without her explicit permission because men should be focused on celebrating the bride and groom. Rule number 12 made my jaw drop. I needed to lose 15 pounds before the wedding because all bridesmaids should photograph well together. But rule number 1 was my favorite. I wasn't allowed to smile in any photos unless Victoria was smiling first because the bride should always look happiest in her own wedding photos. I read that line 5 times, certain I was misunderstanding. I screenshot the whole thing and sent it to Tyler. He called me 20 minutes later, laughing. She's just really stressed about the wedding planning. You know how brides get. She'll relax once everything's booked. I wanted to argue, but he sounded so happy. So I just said I'd do my best and left it alone. The bridal shower was my chance to prove I was a good sister and a supportive maid of honor. I spent 2 weeks planning every detail. I made a Pinterest board, coordinated with her friends, ordered decorations in her wedding colors. I even tracked down her favorite cake from a bakery 40 minutes away. This specific lemon lavender cake she'd mentioned once in passing. Victoria walked into the venue, looked around at the decorations I'd spent hours hanging, and her face fell. "This is it?" she said flatly. Then in front of all 15 guests, she announced that I clearly didn't care about her special day and that she should have known better than to trust someone with no event planning experience. Her friends nodded sympathetically while I stood there holding a tray of champagne glasses. I made it through the shower without crying. Barely. That night, I texted Tyler and told him I was stepping down from the wedding party. I kept it simple, said I loved him but couldn't be Victoria's maid of honor anymore. He called immediately and his voice was tight with anger. "You're seriously doing this? You're going to ruin everything over nothing? She's under a lot of pressure and you're making it worse." We didn't talk for 2 weeks, the longest we'd gone without speaking since he left for college. I kept checking my phone, hoping he'd text, but nothing came. I started wondering if I'd made a huge mistake, if I'd blown up my relationship with my brother over wedding drama. Then, on a random Tuesday night, someone knocked on my apartment door. I looked through the peephole and saw Tyler standing there, hands shoved in his pockets, looking exhausted. I opened the door and he walked in without saying anything, just sat down on my couch and put his head in his hands. "Mom got a list too," he finally said. I sat down next to him. He pulled out his phone and showed me a document titled Mother of the Groom Guidelines, 20 rules for his mom. Things like what she was allowed to wear, how she should pose in pictures, topics she wasn't permitted to discuss at the rehearsal dinner. The last rule said she needed to refer to Victoria as the most beautiful woman in the room at least 3 times during her speech. "What did Mom say?" I asked, already knowing the answer. Tyler almost smiled. "She laughed in Victoria's face and told her if she wanted to marry into this family, she could start by treating us with respect." He paused. "Victoria called off the wedding herself, screaming that we were all too difficult to deal with." Tyler looked at me with tired eyes and said, "You tried to warn me."